Tell them free my people. Please free my people, Lord God. From your evil, yeah. I tell them open up them eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be foolish in a this your time. Open up your eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be stupid in a this your time. This a no racial song, you are just reality. Me speaking from my heart, no without partiality. The system don't press the people with them authority. It's only one set of people that face poverty. Tell them well, we not the kitchen, it's them a feel it. So long Babylon system, them take the chain off how we feed them. Have a plan with them divide, feel it, and get defeat. Everything them do, Jaja don't see. Black is the opposite of white, the absorption of light. Full time we must unite, real African Kushite. Anyway, so the man a rebel with a cause on a rebel. Real revolutionist man a born out the devil. Man come to motivate and edify all my people. Cause Babylon system them nah level. I tell them open up them eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be foolish in a this your time. Open up your eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be stupid in a this your time. Oh, for the information about our history, so many lies Babylon, them a try for trickery. Them thief we scrolled, yo what a mystery. Like Babylon feel we forget about slavery, yeah. So many ancestors have been brought on ships, chains and shackles and so much licks. For centuries them keep preaching the same old lyrics. New tactics but the same bullshit. This time you open up your eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be foolish in a this your time. Open up your eyes. Black man, this time you got to be wise. Black man, be careful of wolf in a disguise. Black man, anyway, tell them you can be stupid in a this your time. Martin Luther King, black man. Malcolm X, him was a black man. Haile Selassie, black man. Marcus Garvey, him was a black man. Nelson Mandela, black man. Barack Obama, black man. Kwame Ture, a black man. So this is why yo I sing my black song. I said to set my people free, set my people free, set my people free, set my people free. Why so black people?
Greetings, OUR family.
Blessed day world.
Welcome back to Black to Black.
Welcome Black.
Welcome Black to Black to Black. You bite my whole tongue there. So, today, we are discussing another lovely topic. Colorism and interracial mixing and its effects in our community, whether positive or negative, right? Today we are joined by none other than the Honorable, my big brother, Mr. Neil Parsanlal.
Yeah, man.
Alright, you could get them a 2 cents about yourself.
About who?
Who you are.
Neil Parsanlal is.
Who is Neil Parsanlal, boy? Parsanlal is a Trini, first and
foremost, right?
A black Trini male.
Right.
And within those 3 things, you could dissect that in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What it means to be black, what it means to be Trini, and what it means to be a male black Trini.
Mm.
I'm a father of 2. I'm married. I have one wife. It's important to say that. So, you know, I have one wife. I have
It's your business to say that. But
These days,
I have 2 children, 2 university students now.
Right.
Trying to raise them, in the proper way. I'm Catholic. I'm a a lay minister in the Catholic Church.
All right.
I am the chief executive officer at a company that provides EAP services, that's employee assistance programs for companies throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So we meet people. I lead a team of psychologists, counselors, social workers, providing that kind of intervention to companies and to individuals all over Trinidad and Tobago. We do a little bit of work up the islands as well.
Right.
I was a former minister of government.
Yeah.
I make that abundantly clear, and with the People's National Movement.
All right.
I was the Minister of Information then, and that's who I am.
Nice. Well, welcome to the Black to Black. It is a lovely pleasure to have you, sir.
Good to be here.
Yeah, long time we discussing this, and I remember a conversation we were having. I can't remember if it was in the shop or if it was by you when we was playing table tennis. I can't remember. About growing up as a what the Trinis will call a Douglas.
A Douglas boy.
Yeah. What the Trinis will call a Douglas. And how, when greeted by both sides, how difficult it was. So, well, I'm a red man.
Well, and I won't hold that against you.
Yeah, I mixed down. My great grandfather is a German, white man, blonde hair, blue eyes. My great grandmother is a jet black African from Mayaro. So, I don't get more mixed than that. Unfortunately for them, I only embrace the one side,
and even that is a choice.
Yes.
I am the product of my father was East Indian,
right?
Descendant of the indentured immigrants. My mother is one of the Coco Payol mix up, but black. So my father's name is Parsanlal,
right?
And so as I had to stand up in the parliament and say once, I'm the quintessential Douglas. 6 of one, half a dozen of the next. I can't, there isn't, if as the Calypso would have said, if you split me into, I don't know where to go.
Right.
If, I don't know, to go back to India, to go back to Africa, is neither here nor there for me, which is why I say it's important for me to identify as a black
man,
male,
right,
in Trinidad. That is important for me,
right,
because there are so many things that happen in the space that you have East Indian or Indo-Trinidadians who do not consider themselves black.
Right.
You have Afro-Trinidadians who will not identify as black either.
Far less African.
Because like you, they have a little color in them. You understand? So to call them black is almost an affront to their dignity.
Yeah, but you know that when they jump in, then
you're a red man too.
I really think about it.
Yeah, York's bloody dark red.
But we just talk that by rehearsal. You're black. You don't consider yourself black because you have a little color in here, but we don't consider white as a color. Colored people is black people.
Yeah.
So
it's only them don't consider themselves colored. And them just change all the colors.
That is semantics.
and interestingly, my daughter is now at university in Barbados. And my daughter is, perhaps a little lighter brown than you.
Than me, yeah.
And she is considered in the Bajan society, she passes for white. And she has to make a point all the time, that, hey, I am black. Because on the campus, surrounded by Bajans and Incentians and Grenadians and Antiguans and that sort of thing, she stands out. She literally stands
out. Wow.
And she has to tell people, and she's had the experience in Barbados of going into places and being treated differently from how her colleagues, would be treated as well, simply because she was high brown, so to speak,
right. Lighter hue,
and the others were darker, and so she's experienced that. And even here in Trinidad and Tobago, we've experienced it. When I opted to become a member of the People's National Movement, and not just become a member, but to become, offer myself in terms of representation.
Yeah.
The amount of opposition I got because of that, it was
from within the party or from the followers?
From outside of the party.
Right.
Because it was disturbing for me on a very rare level, because as far as a lot of people were concerned, because my name was Parsanlal, I ought to have affiliated myself with a different party, not the People's National Movement.
That's nonsense.
And, yeah, it's nonsense. You know, you went into the parliament and you got the same thing. You know, you got people who, you know, from the opposition side, who would spout, you know, spew that kind of racist nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, and it was in one of those occasions, you know, where I had to get up and challenge the members across on the other side about the attempt to introduce race into everything.
Yeah.
The ethnic politics, and say to them that, you know, I am the quintessential Douglas. I could stand on your side and I could stand on my side. But we are here about representation, and that is what matters to me.
Amen.
That last line, big brother. And this is where me and a lot of people is pull apart. Because see, the last line, where it's about representation, I think that is missing in today's politics. So, I am a proud African. I want betterment for African people in Trinidad and Tobago. But is it that when I say that you hear that I don't want nobody else to do better?
And you see, and tragically, we live in an either-or society.
Yeah.
It's either you're this
or that,
or either you're that.
Can't be both.
And you can't be both. You know, like we can't walk and whistle at the same time. I'd use another phrase that we'd use on the, you know, if we were somewhere else. But you know but like we can't walk and whistle at the same time. It's either you're red or you're yellow. It's either you're blue or you're black. We cannot understand a concept where I can be a member of one political party and have a disagreement with that party.
Yeah.
You know, and I could support something that somebody else is saying.
Right? Especially if it makes sense.
If it makes sense. You know, that we don't, you know, we don't have that kind of latitude. We don't give ourselves that kind of latitude. And I've told people point blank, do not pigeonhole me. You know, because I have the mark of an independent mind is to be able to change your mind. Is to be able to change your mind, that in the face of facts and new information and that sort of thing, you can in fact change your mind about a particular topic, about a particular issue.
I agree.
And some of us hold, you know, so fervently to one particular position that we lose ourselves in the process of being open to other positions.
Yeah.
And that's part of the challenge we have. That you either have to be this
or that.
Or you have to be that. And I said no.
I think that's destroying the fabric of the society. Yeah. Because a lot of us, you introduced me to politics. And since then I have been avoiding it because I don't know what you're saying, partner. But everybody keeps saying, Karen, I feel you need to get involved and take. But for me, I've always had that fear of not even retribution. Because now there's this thing going around that, you know, the present party is a democratic dictatorship. Right?
I don't want to comment because it might seem as though I'm taking a side with respect, because you have the internal elections coming up.
Yeah.
But you can't say that someone is a dictator and that same person introduce a one-man, one-vote system. You're just not making sense.
Right.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. But that's all right.
Let me tell you why I do agree with it.
Go ahead.
Because if I have enough power and control, I could still introduce a one-man, one-vote system. But I know all you have to vote for me.
Why?
And if we don't,
that is the way that I build it.
And if we don't, what happens?
Well, then it has consequences from internal.
So but that's victimization.
Of course,
but who going?
But we get to know like those things don't happen.
But who going with you in the
booth
in the booth to tell you who to vote for?
Nobody not going to tell you in the booth to tell you who to vote for. But when the results come out, then you have to face more rats, because then we know somebody didn't vote for me.
And then what?
I mean, and then what?
But you're out?
No, but
just now, all right. But we acting as though there are not consequences for these people with that type of mindset. We acting as though that is as simple as that. And we all here know it's not as simple as
it's not as simple as that. But you see, anytime we stand up from here and see, well, that is why they do that, and that is why they do that, and that is why they do that, and therefore I not taking part, we defeat in the process.
Right.
We have shot ourselves in the foot. We have not given ourselves the opportunity to make that difference. And that's part of the problem with our black people. That's part of the problem with the black youth. We have been told that our votes are not going to make a difference.
Yeah. Where I am from, that's a fact.
If you go back to the Do So campaign, 2010,
Yeah.
youths weren't told, come out and vote for another party, you know. They were told, do not vote. So voter suppression, and even if you go back to the United States and the elections in Barack Obama, the 2012, the elections of 2016 with Donald Trump, there was voter suppression. People were not told vote against anybody. They were just don't go out and vote. And that is what has happened with the young black male in Trinidad and Tobago. They have been told, do not go out and vote.
Yeah.
Because your vote is not going to make a difference.
Right.
But guess what? That's crap.
Well, I can definitely agree that.
Your vote is
I know that we have been told that
it's going to make the difference.
on many levels, not just by saying
Of
do
course.
vote.
It's,
But by
it's been told, it's the symbols are there,
Right.
Everything is there.
one of the questions I want to ask is, how do we reach out to those same youths? Because the reason it's a little easier to tell them to vote and they listen is because they're not satisfied. So we're not talking about the criminal element. We're not talking about the element we think we lost. Right? We're talking about the thinking young people who want to make a difference. They probably don't know how. But they are dissatisfied with the present way things are running. Where it might be easier to reach them by saying don't vote. How do we reach them?
But you see, I think we're starting off wrong.
Right.
I think we're starting off wrong. So let me go back. When I grew up in Tacarigua, right, now my grandfather could neither read nor write. He signed his name with a thumb. He lived to be 101 years old.
Nice.
And up until the time of his death, he signed his name with his thumb. My mother went as far as primary school, post-primary. Her children, all her children are educated. Some of us have more than one degree.
Right.
In 3 generations, we managed to change that.
Right.
And nobody can come and tell me, don't vote. I will tell you what to do. Right?
Where to go.
And where to go.
Yes.
You can't come and because I have, and my parents were very, very clear. Only way out of your poverty was education.
And you see it work for you.
And it worked for us. So I remember one day coming home, dropping out of a bus, and the house was just about let's say 100 meters down the road, and there was a flannel ball, a cricket ball, at the side of the road, and I picked up the ball. I go home and play cricket, and when I reached home, my father asked me, "Where you get that ball?" And I said, "Well, I get it by the bus stop." He said, "Well, the bus stop don't make ball." So go and carry it back.
Principles.
We talk about that recently.
Yeah.
Go and carry it back. And he stood up by the side of the road
And watch it.
and watched me walk back up to the bus stop and put on the ball. You understand? My father we were good, but
Right.
my father was my friend.
He was not your friend.
He was not my friend. He was my father
shit.
first.
Shit.
And we have a lot of black people and a lot of black parents who are their children's friends first, not their parents. And that had it done. That had it done. We have to be able to tell our children that this is what worked for me, and at least offer them the opportunity to do it.
Right.
At least offer them and present them with the opportunity. I know things hard. I know things hard. When I went to St. Mary's College, and I make no apologies for that.
Right.
Right. I remember going to St. Mary's one day, Form 1, and I carried sada roti for lunch. In them days, sada roti wasn't a thing.
Nah.
In them days, sada roti wasn't a thing. Everybody now running down sada roti and this and sada roti and that and sada roti.
That's a delicacy.
That's a delicacy. No, that's
Yeah.
breakfast. You
Yeah.
had to go for breakfast. But in my days, that wasn't a thing.
Right.
And I remember my father had fried up, Vienna sausages and tomatoes and that kind of thing, and slap it on the sada roti. And that was lunch for me in my brown bag. And when I reached down to school today, some fellas who lived west of Frederick Street looked at me and said, "Whoa, boy, you bring pizza for lunch?" I didn't know what the hell a pizza was. But they saw salaruti
As pizza.
with fry up with tomatoes and onions and that kind of things and sausages. And they say, well, I said, well, yeah, we're eating pizza. If that is all they see, that's
Yes.
right. But even at that stage, I knew that there in St. Mary's College, that would be my salvation. And I am where I am today, and I could tell anybody that I am where I am today because my parents insisted that education was the way out of our poverty. And I embraced that.
Right.
That is what has got me. So as I'm raising my children now, that had to be the basis of it.
So based on that, right? Is that the only way, or is it something that you deal with as you go along? Meaning education as a means out of poverty.
And you see, we feel that education is only the grammar school type education.
Right.
Right? We feel that is only, you had to do English and maths and history and geography and that kind of thing. Everybody had to be doctor and lawyer and nonsense.
Utter
nonsense. Utter nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? You have, because, and I mean, later on as we do the psychology and that sort of thing, you understand that there are different learning styles.
Yes.
And that is why the pandemic will have such a disastrous effect on our education system. I was not surprised at the level of passes, at the reduction in the pass rates, both at the SEA level or the CXC and CAPE level. I was not surprised. Because what you have is different learning styles. So each one of us has a different learning style. Some of us could, are verbal. Some of us are linguistic. Some of us are spatial, bodily kinesthetic. We had to feel it and make it up with your hands and that kind of thing. And that's how we learn.
Yeah.
So when you home and you have people online and you tell people, well, log on, and all you hearing is your teacher talking and talking and talking, and you got to the stage where some teachers were not even turning on their cameras, so I couldn't even see.
So the visual's dead.
The visual's dead. So all I hearing is this voice droning on and on and on and on. I just present. You understand? I just make sure I log on and I present. You understand? And then of course the parents aren't home to say, well, okay, to say, well,
Make sure that
you're class. So I get back to the point that education is not just history and geography, right? You have all the other areas.
Yeah.
But we have grown up, and thankfully it is dissipating now, where we feel that to be a tradesman is to be
dunce.
Is to be dunce. So you tell you, well, why don't go and learn a trade?
Yeah.
In a derogatory manner.
But sometimes I wish I'd go and learn a trade, because the kind of money I just had to pay now for a man to come and do some work in my house, because I can't build no cupboard.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. But the kind of money I will pay a man now to come and make some concrete by me, or to do some cupboards by me and that kind of thing. Sometimes I wish I'd go and learn a trade.
The disrespected tradespeople, I always remember an old friend of the family say he go and buy some people west of Frederick Street to change the security light giving problems. Throw up a ladder, climb up. Man say, no, 1 minute he see the problem, come back down, go in his car, go back up the ladder, change it, fix it. And the man don't want to pay because he charge a few $100 now. And it remind me, when they show you, they tell you about the old man and fixing a boat and it's millions of dollars in cargo waiting, and the cargo got the boat in thing, and he just went and moved one thing and the boat gone, and he sent them, he built them, want to know, well, if you need to take 5 seconds to do that, why change? He said, boy, did you know what to do? And the same thing the man said, the man wanted willing to go up on the ladder.
But the thing is, Andre, you're not paying for just the man going up the ladder.
You're paying for your experience.
You're paying for the man experience.
Exactly.
For all the years of study, and that's what you're paying for. That is why I'll tell you, I do not haggle with
that's something we always
say that.
Yeah.
You come, I want you to do a job in my house. You come and you tell me, Neil, $500. Brother man, look at $500. Because you see what I charge your price now.
Yeah.
Dude, why thing?
It's another hard way.
Where's the as is you price?
It's another that.
As is you price.
It's another that.
You call your price, I pay you. Right? Because I know you would have gone through whatever it is you would have gone through to arrive at the point where I feel comfortably enough to invite you to come to do work by me.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I, in my professional capacity, say, Karen, here what? That will cost you a little 15.
Yeah.
Don't haggle with me.
No, it's not haggle.
Don't haggle with me.
It's not haggle.
That the word that is be used regularly in the shop. We do encourage haggling, especially amongst ourselves who we just do business. When it comes to price, each one of us should.
I think it's important for us as we grow and as we nurture our children, you know, to be able to share with them the experiences of what it means growing up in Trinidad and Tobago. When we were growing up, as I said, you know, I grew up in Takarique. You had the mosque was down the road. The Catholic church is opposite the mosque. Yeah. And the area was predominantly Hindu.
Okay.
And that's what we grew up in. So when is Eid, we drinking sour wine like I going out of style. when is Diwali, we bending bamboo and we lighting.
But this thing changed. You know, there's something that has beat me. I try to figure out to see and
all of us.
Where did I miss that change?
All of us grew up like that. You know, we'd come by your house and you come by my house and we make a line together. You understand? And that's how we grew up. And that is what I try my best now to inculcate in my own children. Yeah. That a difference of religion is really an accident of geography.
Drop something now, man. Please.
It's really when we live now, who our parents are and those kind of things are really accidents of geography. Right? Because all of us come here, you know. All of we reach here, all of we are transplanted people. And unless we realize that all of us here, you know, we here to by it's an accident of geography. Not Columbus, it's not we here by accidents of geography. And we have an opportunity now to create a Trinidad and Tobago, to create out of this, you know, on this little rock, a different kind of space. But it doesn't mean that I have to give up who I am.
Agreed.
To be who you want me to be.
Yeah.
You know, so when you talk about interracial marriages, you know, and that kind of thing, there's a difference between, and we have to become accustomed to it. There's something called assimilation, and there's something called acculturation.
Right.
Right. And we need to understand that, you know, I could respect the East Indian culture as I do. I could respect the East Indian culture, and I will, you know, cherish and nurture that in anybody.
Right.
But I do not have to give up who I am.
For that.
Yeah. And neither should I feel that the East Indian person or the Indo-Trinidadian person must give up parts of their culture in order to become Trinidadian. We're all Trinidadians. We're all Trinbagonians, Afro-Trinidadians, Indo-Trinidadians, you know, but existing on this rock. When you look at the Chinese, for instance, who have come to Trinidad for so many years, they don't give up who they are, you know.
Never.
No, brother, I'm not going to tell you that, you know.
They don't give up who they are.
I'm not going to say that.
So they have not become, you know, assimilated.
They don't know where they go anywhere.
That's the difference between assimilation and acculturation.
Yeah.
The Chinese, the Syrian Lebanese, they have not been assimilated into the culture, but they are very much a part of it. But they have retained significant parts of their culture, their marriages, their intermarriages, the way they marry, the fact that a lot of them still speak Lebanese in their homes or Chinese in their homes. Right? They have nurtured and they have, you know, really encouraged their children to maintain those parts of the culture. We on the other hand, we listen to 2 Jamaican dancehall songs.
Wagwan.
You understand? And we have to do this. And again, it's, you know, we've given up, so we've assimilated, you know, we've gone into the thing and given up our identity. Of
so I wanna say this, right? 2 things. I want to also posit that the fact that the communities like the Syrian community and the Chinese community have never assimilated. At least not to no great extent.
So there's acculturation. They're here.
Right, yes.
They're very much here.
And they are part of the society, but they haven't assimilated.
They have not lost who they are.
Right? It is part of the reasons why they're so financially strong.
Agreed.
Right? Also, just know what you say there about the slightest little thing we hear. Especially if it being reported as cool. Young black people gravitate towards it. Over the years, I realized a big part of that, especially after watching a documentary. I don't know how I come across that. I call the Merchants of Cool. The Merchants of Cool. And the documentary is about how they just sell cool to your children. we should all watch that as young parents.
But Andre, I studied in Jamaica. Right? I went to Jamaica as a young man. And I saw Trinidadians who, students who came up to Jamaica. And all of us, we lived on campus and that kind of thing. And within a week, them spitting more Jamaican than Jamaica.
So I was getting to that.
Right? and part of that is because we are not sufficiently grounded in who we are.
Right. That is exactly where I was
not
going with
sufficiently
that.
grounded in who we are. And I can't blame the young people for that.
Right.
That is my fault and your fault.
Right.
That is the fault of the adults because we have not passed it. We have not grounded them in that. We have not made it sufficiently accessible to them. So that within a week, they reach in Jamaica, spouting Jamaican like, they're like they're there for years. And the Jamaicans watching at them are like fools.
So I watching the comments and them, they saying the same thing. One of the what I was going at with that is that we have no identity in Trinidad as Africans.
I don't necessarily agree with you 100%.
Right.
But I hear you.
Most people can't say to me what it really mean to be an African in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? This is a very rare thing here.
Yeah.
What's that?
The dress.
Or dress code.
Yeah.
You
But that is
understand?
nail hole there.
No. We know this. I know this. But it is still rare to even walk outside and move around and stuff. I do a lot of moving around. Right? The identity is to try to be what you see as cool. So I never forget my partner saying, but like we living in a DVD. And he had meant them years ago, remember we was talking about on a Saturday you go and you buy the latest DVD with the latest music videos. Come on here, watch. And we used to do that. But we go in the club in the night and everybody looking like what we see on the DVD some hours ago. That's Trinidad and Tobago, especially when it comes to African people in Trinidad and Tobago. So as what Sheldon alluded to here, of course when we go somewhere, because we're grounded, because even if you want to go African, most of them can't tell me what it means to be a Trinidad.
And that's why when I began,
Patriotism.
I said it's important for us to understand what it means to be a black, male, Trinidadian. And I said those three things, what it means to be black in this country.
Oh gosh.
What it means to be Trinbagonian. What it means to be male. Because we have all different kinds of concepts of what it means to be a man. And part of that is because men like me and men like you have not raised our young men to be men. I have made it point blank. I am not raising my child, my one piece of boy child, to be a rehabilitation center for nobody girl child. I'm not doing it.
My God.
I am raising my son to be a good citizen. To
Right.
be an honest, upright, progressive thinking young man. And if by chance he encounters a young lady who shares his value systems and he wants it, fine. But I'm not sending my children out there to be a rehabilitation center for anybody. You do your work, I go do mine.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Karen, read out Mendoza comments in all of them. They're short.
From which one, May?
They did
I would
not
rather
suffer
speak
this-
Jamaican.
No, over that.
Columbus was the first
No,
Trinidad.
even over that.
Go
right?
back.
Yeah, right.
They did not suffer the same oppression
Right.
as black people do. They have retained their culture, but we are trying to regain our culture, so we are not the same. Then he said if we embrace Jamaican culture, it is still closer to our African culture, so I embrace that move towards going back to who we are. We gravitate towards other cultures.
But stick up in there.
Pin.
Why, in embracing it, we had to go back, we had to accept that, okay, so if we can't go back to Africa, so we might as well accept Jamaica. What kind of mediocrity and settling for mediocrity is that? Why don't create what's your own?
But from that, I don't get mediocrity. I get.
But you're settling for something that is not even yours.
No, from the idea that Jamaica and part of what we call black culture in Jamaica did not deviate too far from the African culture.
Andrew, go back to your sociology. Look at the history and the socialization of Jamaica as opposed to the history and socialization of Trinidad and Tobago. We two completely different cultures.
Right.
In fact, Tobago is more closely in terms of the socialization and the history, is closer to Jamaica than Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
If you listen to the accents in Jamaica and you listen to the accent in Tobago,
Close.
They're very close, right? And that's because of the history of slavery and that sort of thing. I refuse to accept that because I can't get to Africa, I'm gonna settle for Jamaica.
But that is not really what he alluding to here, you know.
Perhaps I heard him wrong, and if I did,
No, he's not alluding to that. The idea is kind of we now say there in that last part about how close Tobago is, and it's so funny that we laugh at them. The things that closest to who we really are. Neil, I don't know if you've ever experienced it. I experience people laughing at me just like this.
I suspect people might laugh at me too, but that's the business.
Of course, that is.
Them buy this for me.
You know we know business. But I'm saying now, we laugh at that because I remember growing up before I ever went to Tobago and before I understand now the difference in Tobagonians' mentality. I remember people telling me to laugh at them. They didn't say Andre laugh at them, you know, but the conversation was never one of embracing Tobagonians' proud history of the fact that they are Africans. It was never that. It was always hear them the song, the shepherd, they living in the bush, this, that.
And again, how did we re-educate? How did we re-educate? The Lauryn Hill, I think it was, who sang it, was the miseducation of the, was it Lauryn Hill? The miseducation of the Negro. How do you and I, because it's not just a matter of wearing the clothes. It's not just a matter of wearing the clothes and wearing, the things around our necks, and it's not that is not the be all and end all of our Africanness. When you look at the philosophy, the Ubuntu philosophy, for instance, right, about how as a collective, how we move together. That is missing from us. In Trinidad and Tobago today. We have a system here. From the time you're 18, 19, 20, you had to leave your mother house. Among the Afro-Trinidad youth.
Yeah, we don't encourage that.
Something we buy into from American TV.
And I say, but why? Because when you look on the other side, they may leave in the mother house.
No.
They may leave in the house is built in such. Firstly, it will be the little board house or the leapy house, and you'll see some galvanized around it. And then suddenly the galvanized move, and you see one
monstrosity.
Right? And then the boy get married, and they just add on something in the house there. When the girl get married, she had to go.
Yeah.
But once the boy get married,
they
build in there, and I have no problem with that.
Of course not. That's not something to have a problem.
So the culture and the traditions of the family, are embedded there. As far as our Afro-Trinidadian youths are concerned and how we operate in the society, for any time we reach 18 or 19, 20, we want to leave him out of the house to go and put ourselves in debt, and that's why we poor. That's one of the reasons why we poor, because from very early we feel that we have to go out and start to pay a rent.
Let's make you a man.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could turn your own key.
Yes.
You understand? So we go out and we start to pay a rent. We had to get a ride. Because of course we ain't living home now, so we had to get transport.
Yeah.
So we dig ourselves further into debt.
Yeah.
While our friends on the other side, living home in the mother house, still driving the father car and banking the money. You understand? And that is what I'm still trying to get people to understand. That we had to break out of that foolishness.
Yeah, that ask Karen why I tell a lot of young people, they see every time I write CXC. If I say to you, this is how I look at it. If you confident enough to go and tell your mother you are iPhone 14 and you is 16 years old, Brad, you smart enough to go and sit down with your mother and father and say, Mommy, I'm going to write CXC in the next couple of months. This is what I want to do after. I see this course. The course is 10,000. But when it's done, I could do so. I can't see how we accepting our children. They telling me there's the Jordan that they were. There's the phone that they were. There's the bags that could have next thing to. I didn't know school bags could have be so expensive.
You can't go to school without a Jansport.
Come on, Jansport is the lowest room.
Spray ground it is now.
Yes.
Spray grounds?
Yeah.
You can't go to school. You're mad.
So I'm saying now, but if we as parents, and we, as I said just now, we have to take a part of that too, could accept these requests from our children, then we have to start to talk to our children in such a way that they're confident enough to come and tell us, this is what I want to do. Because I tell people, children, especially actually when we're going to, yo, coming out of your mother's house right now is the worst mistake you could make for probably the whole rest of your life.
Andre, for my son to come and tell me that he wanted an iPhone 14, well, one, he had to be mad. Tell him that. Right? Because if he come in to tell me he wanted an iPhone 14, then he had to come with a plan as to how we going to get that iPhone 14. I'm the CEO of a company. I do have an iPhone 14. Why should I be giving my son an iPhone 14? Why should I put myself in that kind of debt?
Thank you.
To give my son an iPhone 14 because all the friends of them have it?
Right.
No, not under my watch. Not under my watch. So if when he comes and says, Daddy, I want to, I want to get. Well, the plan is okay. So where are we going with that? How we going and do this? Because it can't be that I dip in my hand. I work too hard to dip my hand in my pocket and just fork out money to give you an iPhone 14, and I still have a well, I ain't gonna call the name of it. it ain't reached 10 yet. You had to be joking.
But
when we give, yes, and part of the problem we have is that we want to give, and on the face of it is good. We want to give our children all the things we did not have.
Yeah. But
we're not giving them what we did have. We're not giving them the value system that we had.
Amen.
We're not giving them that. So if we want to give them the material things, but we give them the value system that allowed us, to survive without the material things, then I feel we're going to be in a better space.
I think Bruce Lee said that.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee he said that too. Yeah. That you give them values.
Give them values.
Not things.
When it cannot be that my son must be able to come to me and say, and I remember him coming to me once and say, Daddy, I want to get so on. I say, well, pal, you really can't get on now. Just can't afford it. And in his mind at the time, because both parents were working, it seemed automatic that he should be able to get it. Yeah, because, as I said, in his mind, you have two parents working, things are happening so that if I ask for something, I should be able to get it.
The maths in there.
The maths was maths in him. So I had to sit them down and say, this is what's happening. This is how much money Daddy does make, and this is how much money Mommy does make. These are all the expenses we have here. This is what we're putting aside for you. This is what we're putting aside for you. So at the end of all of that, this is what we had to spend. Very simple maths. Very simple maths. This is what we had to spend. And therefore, you see that request you make there? That can happen now.
Yeah, but we do that. How many besides yourself, right? That's not.
The thing is,
Besides yourself,
how many of us are doing that?
That's what I'm not going to ask you.
And why are we not doing it?
That budget from your mother. You ever see your mother money?
No.
I've never seen that. Was saying besides yourself.
I never saw my mother money.
I have that conversation with them. I did not from them.
I never saw my father money.
Because I tell my 6-year-old child plain. What I try to do is give her explanation though, because I realize
that's what I say. So it's not just a matter of you can't get it.
Yeah, growing up, I didn't get explanations. We didn't get explanations.
This is why, because in his mind, both parents were working, and therefore, if I make a request, I should get it. Yeah. And you can't blame that kind of logic.
No.
Right. But what he did not know is that
where the money go in.
They understand, and plenty it is for them.
And we have to tell them that.
Yeah.
It can't be, well, you can't get it because I say so. Well, then they go and get it somewhere else.
Yep.
They'll go and get it somewhere else. But once they're able to understand that the system, the economic system, and we are not teaching our children about the economic system.
Yeah.
We're not. And as Afro-Trinidadians, as Trinbagonians on the whole, we need to teach our children.
Is there room for that in school?
Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Because it had a part that passed, and I watch now, waiting patiently for it to come back around because this part here,
Mendoza, I'll get to your comments just now, Mendoza.
Is where I think the African children suffering the most. in the school system, right? Because as a product of Success Lavantil, knowing the trade facilities that Success Lavantil had, Malik had, Bokmalatris had, and those things are no more. I don't know why the teachers are not teaching, they're not learning, like they go in teachers training college to learn only academic subjects. And in the African community, you find a lot, and I am battling with it right now, because me growing up, I was at loggerheads with my mother because I was artistic. All I want to do is draw and play pan. That is all I want to do. Now I'm a barber and a former musician, and now my daughter following in my footsteps. And it is the hardest thing for me to fathom, Neil, because it's like I want to have the conversation with her. Let me sit down and talk, because she in Form 3, which is the decision making period, right? Are we going to repeat the cycle? You have to study. Or do I sit with her and say, listen, what you like?
These are the options that I open to you. Because now they have a world of options. The kind of options I see young people have today. We didn't have those options then.
Right.
But to get back to the question, if I want to tell my son comes to me with the iPhone, for instance, right? I could talk to my son about how long it will take if you're working for, if you have 2 cars in the yard, right? If you're going to wash them 2 cars every week by whatever price, how long it will take you to make the price for the
iPhone.
The iPhone. I could sit down and talk that. When I was in Jamaica, I did a lot of work in the ghetto, the ghetto communities. All them communities, they're singing about in them song now as if it's glorifying it. I've worked in those communities. And one of the things we had to do in teaching people basic maths is help them to understand that. You want to go out weekend. You need a kit for the weekend. You need a jersey, you need a pants, you need boots on your foot. You need money to spend. How much for the pants? How much for this? How much you have now? What is the difference? That's how you taught maths. That's how you taught addition and subtraction. That's how you taught. That's how you looked at. So many issues. Able to bring it to their level. And I will not accept that you cannot teach that within the curriculum.
Yeah, that's garbage.
I cannot accept that you cannot teach that within the curriculum, because you still have to find a way to let the maths for the children. And if you can't bring it to them in terms and in using symbols that they will understand, then you have failed as a teacher. You have failed. You're still teaching maths, you're still teaching addition and subtraction and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the examples that you draw, the analogies you draw, the symbols you use must be reflective of what the children know.
True.
It must be reflective of what the children know. When you want to teach maths in Blanchishes, right? You had to talk about fish and the price of fish.
And coconut.
And
profession and thing.
And how much a pound.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have $100, how much you could get because of how much you could get for that. And if the meal is ground provision and stew pork, well then how much we paying for that. You have to localize it, and we are not. God bless teachers. God bless teachers. But I'm not sure that we are making that effort.
Yeah.
So that goes back all to identity.
Remember when I tell you 31 years I learned how I learn? This man. Do a course in digital effective business communication course. And that is when I learn how I learn. I cannot sit down in a classroom and learn nothing.
All of us different.
Give me
all of us different.
Visual audio connecting. Remember, I was the one with the tree.
Yeah.
Every time I do them things, I always end up with more than one. Yeah. And the persons be like, but how, Karen, you're either on top here, you're down here, you're over here, you're over here. How you here? But that's just where I identify.
And when you stand up in a class and you're still engaging in this chalk and talk thing, right? I will stand up by the board and I will write and you listen and that kind of thing. Half our children, they're not there.
Yeah.
They're not there. And we have to understand that we learn differently. Not all of us smile in the same language.
True.
Not all of us smile in the same language. We have people who are dyslexic sitting down in our classes. People on different parts of the autism spectrum in our classes. How do we treat them?
So that's the reason why I say it goes back to identity. Is because I have met a few teachers in my school time that tried to implement their own things based on us here and get real fired up.
And my simple response to that is, we don't get tired of doing what's right.
No. They didn't stop it. I just saying.
You have to say that again.
I just saying.
I'm saying we just do not get tired of doing what is right.
That's why I ask about education, because I will always seem anti-system. Because I think when you control certain things, it's easy for me to sit down here and say, you should have do so.
Mm-hmm.
I always ask myself, we ask like, so they don't have these conversations? Meaning who running, like we say, Ministry of Education now, right? Because somebody say, we still teaching colonial education in school. And I agree with that to a very, very large extent.
But let me ask you a question. Why we can't teach history and geography in school?
Why can't you what?
Why we can't teach history and geography in school?
I didn't say we should.
No, but when you talk about teaching colonial education in school,
style,
what do you mean?
Style. That same thing you know say chalk and
Chalk and
blackboard. You're not reaching certain people. You know allude to it. You're not reaching them.
I want to suggest that whole idea of we still teaching the colonial. I want us to be clear in our minds what we really mean when we talk about being colonial. I want us to be very clear in our mind, because you see, you can't change your past. You can't change your history. History is history.
We know this.
History is history. You cannot change that. We can't erase it. We can't wipe it away and pretend that it was not there.
Yes.
We can't pretend that it wasn't there. We can't pretend that Columbus came to Trinidad and Tobago. We can't pretend that we were sold a story that he discovered.
What was already there.
And removing the statues is not going to change that.
They still have to go.
And you could say that. My position is simply removing a statue.
Of
It's
course,
not
that's
going
not
to change.
the be all and
Going
end all.
to
We know
change
that. I
history.
agree that.
But and so a lot of us just scratching the surface, Andre. We're just scratching the surface. And as I come back, when we talk about identity, for a lot of us, this and this is the be-all and end-all of our African identity. And I can't accept that.
So I want to put this to you in relations to what you now say about you can't change your history, right? That's a given. But we can't sit down here and be comfortable in 20. Well, at least I can't sit down here in 2022 and know that my child, who is in second year right now, still learning about Columbus. But not learning about Kwame Ture, who had ideas to help transform the mentality of the space and place that we live in.
So at least you accept that it can't be either or.
Exactly.
You come back to that we live in an either or society. So we're not supposed to teach Columbus. That's not making any sense to me. So
Because it's a part of history.
It's a part of history. We're not supposed to, we're not supposed to teach Columbus. We're supposed to teach Kwame Ture. Why we can't understand this is where we came from.
But you hear the words I used to use, right?
No, and that's what I said to you.
Yeah.
At least we've gotten to the point where it's not either or.
Yes.
You have to
Which is where you started.
Right.
And
have to start.
And I want to also say this, and I want to say it clearly. We have to stop them fellas and them still being glorified via history, via the history that we are taught.
That's our next conversation.
That's our next conversation. But by recognizing or by accepting or saying, or at least it being taught, that Columbus, the history says that Columbus discovered Trinidad and Tobago. We know that is a lie.
Right.
Shadow told us point blank. Columbus lie, Columbus lie, Columbus lie.
Yes.
We accept that.
Yeah.
Right? When will we rewrite our own history books? The glory of the hunt is not told by the lion,
Never.
Told by the hunter.
It's told by the hunter. When will we start to write our own history books? Yeah? When Dr. Rowley came in as Prime Minister, he said he actually commissioned a new history book. And in doing that, he raised the ire of so many people, because that should not have been done. We shouldn't be doing that. And I said, but why not? Because we still teaching people in a sense that as a truth. I want us to be clear. We're still teaching people as a truth that Columbus discovered Trinidad and Tobago. And we know that is not to be true.
True.
So let's hear this quickly now. You have to correct the narrative of history It's not history if it's a lie.
What is the narrative we're trying to correct? That, as I said, that we've been teaching as a truth that Columbus discovered Trinidad and Tobago. We know that is not true. We know that is not
So
true.
is it history if it's not true? If we know it's not true?
But that is the history that we've grown up with.
Yeah.
We need to correct that truth.
Yes.
What are we replacing that with? How are we going to rewrite the history to say that yes, Columbus came because
And
he
what
did.
and what he did.
And what he did.
And who he met here? He met people here, right?
Well, how do we now rewrite that history?
He used to do it all the time, you know. He's dropped nuggets all the time because he dropped one the other day with the Crusades when he used to ask them to go and bring gold. And every time they come back with less than he asked for, he cut off their hand.
How do we rewrite that history? Because we cannot dispute that he was here. And the post his arrival,
Yeah.
that is when people got to know more about the Caribbean. That's a fact. So how do we rewrite the history? So it's not that Columbus didn't discover nothing. We are here already.
Yeah. So now the onus is on somebody who has the information to write a history book for us. That's what he means. At least that's what I get from it.
The glory of the hunt is not told by the lion.
I think what happened in our community is we focusing too much on the lie. Right? Because the lie there. But we know the truth.
And if we know the truth, then why are we not putting that truth out there? And it cannot be left up to the Emancipation Support Committee alone.
Shit. Why?
We can't do that. We can't put that burden on the African the Emancipation Support Committee. And with
That had a fixed home.
And with the greatest of respect to them and for all the fantastic work they've done, the average age there is 95. When are we going to get younger people involved in it? Right? I mean, as I said, the greatest apologies to them. They have done fantastic work, and I will continue to applaud and support the work of the committee. But how do we regenerate ourselves? Where is the succession planning in those committees?
Yeah, I think we're waiting for them to call us.
That will see younger people, and we can't wait.
Yeah, we had to go and sit at their feet and try and start soaking up the information to try and pass it on.
And we cannot simply wait until they're dead. For us then to come and to become involved. We can't do that. It's not going to work.
Yeah,
it's not going to work for us.
So I have a question relating to the topic, which is the interracial interracial mixing and all those things. Do you think that as a result of all the history and thing that now people are choosing that road because they see it as a means to end in terms of betterment? Because for plenty of us, education may not be affordable, right? But your son meet somebody from the west of Frederick Street. She like the little red man or she like the little dark man or whatever. And she say, well, yeah, I like him. And he now say, well, I go say, well, as the father, well, hey, you get a little thing here, boy, there we go. And send him.
You think I no lead for school children again?
No.
Yeah, just what they don't
Only
talk
buckshots
about.
down
For school.
Lead for school here.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that we grew up hearing.
Yeah.
And we know now absolute nonsense.
Whether it is a means of economic advancement, I'm not sure. I think our younger children, certainly the children of my children's generation are going to make us look like fools. Happily so.
Explain.
Because they are not too concerned, at least this is what I'm seeing. They're not too concerned about some of the hang-ups that we have.
Agreed.
Facts.
Agreed.
They're not concerned with some of the hang-ups that we have and some of the
he showed me that all the time.
the baggage that we have carried. I mean, we buy and fight from generations ago. We're not talking to people now. And we don't know why. It's because mommy and daddy didn't talk to them. And when you go back and try to find out why mommy and daddy wasn't talking to them, yes, they can't find a reason. Right? But we buy that fight. And my children are very, very clear There are a lot more, and part of that is because of the fact, the mixing and the assimilation, the mixing of the cultures and that sort of thing. So you become one of the benefits of that is that we become a lot more tolerant, we become a lot more inclusive, we become a little more educated, about the others, and therefore we can understand that, hey, cut me, black sang it, cut me, legacy blood, and that blood is not Indian.
Purple.
It's not India. It's not red blood or yellow blood or it's blood. And that is what courses through. The song, black. It's black blood running through veins. And I said that is who we are. And I think the generation to come, will make us look like fools. And I said happily so, because part of that. That education and part of that whole transformation is the moving away from the ancestral voting patterns as well.
Correct.
Part of that, and that is how the society is going to change.
Yeah, because we saw it in the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
When I don't know if you see the video, the little white girl, when her parents were having a discussion. And they were talking about the black people and how much of them get locked up, and Smalley take it to them, boy. She said, Daddy, you're wrong. You're wrong. And she started to bring the stats for him, boy.
Precisely.
And the father had no choice but to shut up.
And that is why I have great hope for this generation. And that's why I think we, and what you do here on this program, I think is going to help.
Yeah.
I think it's going to help because the more we open our eyes to the possibilities that exist for our children, I think it's going to be greater for us. The opportunities that my children have, I never had it.
Which is the point.
When I left secondary school, when I left St. Mary's College, if I wanted to go to university, I had to pay to go to university. Depend on my parents, to fork out the money, to go to university. In the absence of that, I had to go and find a work, save my money,
pay away,
and then go to university. My children can now leave secondary school
and go straight to university
with the assistance of Gates, and that kind of thing. So those doors are now opened up for them. My son is a young black man doing aerospace and aeronautical engineering and studying Mandarin.
Brother, I don't know where you're waiting on. No, drop something for me, please.
Especially in this part of the world.
What?
Yeah.
And study. So he is enrolled in a university in China. And he's here. I don't think his grandfather, my father, would have even dreamed of that for his grandchildren. The possibilities are there now, and that's why I'm saying to black parents, explore what is possible for your children. Explore what is possible for them. Do not let them be confined to the space where they are now. That is an accident of birth. That is an accident of birth, and it doesn't mean that because you live in a particular area that must be the whole sphere, your whole circle of influence.
Yeah.
Where they live is but an accident of geography now. We have to show them that the world is theirs, and therefore you cannot confine themselves to any one path. We cannot do that, because to do that is to limit them. I've told parents all along, there are two things we need to give our children: roots and wings. Two things we need to give our children.
My God.
That's not going on. That's it.
If we plant those roots and we nurture those roots well, then the only thing we need to do is give them wings after that and let them fly.
Let me bring that back to the black community now. Like, we see this lacking. Like, the best example I want to give of myself is that up to a year ago, I used to say insurance is a fraud, is a scheme, a smart man thing. I'm 43 years old. So I was 42 years old, having no information, no real information from somebody who sells insurance. And if I went to an insurance company and sit down and say, Mr. Parsanlal, tell me about
I don't
insurance.
sell insurance. Huh?
I just say,
I don't sell insurance.
I just say it.
I want nobody,
We are the link. We are the link.
I sell insurance.
Right? But without any information, based on what I hear people saying over the years, I thought it was a scheme. So here I am now at 43 years old now trying to get into insurance. And I look at it like, how much things we've heard from the older generation that we just run with, that we could do better with just a little bit more information, boy. So I want to ask you, like, how do we get that, the information that is necessary? Because we say economics and it is dying. I see Christopher on the chat here, we've been saying that, like, oh, your child going to school. Realize rubber band takes is a big thing in school. Save him money. Buy a box of rubber bands. Go in school. Sell Karen 5 rubber bands for $5.
And Karen buy it.
Yeah,
Did she buy it?
Right?
But we buy it?
You find out as
market.
a teacher or the principal of the school that the child is doing business in the school. I just tell them that we call it waiters. You're doing business in school. And the only response to that in 2021 and 2022 is to take away the box of rubber and call in your parent and say you're not supposed to do that in school. Isn't there no way to reach out to that child? All right, you have a business mind. Look at what he's doing. We don't do it in the school, but come, let's teach you about it.
But the parents know that the child can't do business in school. Right? The parents knew that from before.
Right. Because it's a rule.
It's a rule in the school. So the parents knew that.
Right.
The child is doing business in school. So the parent already know that the child breaking the rule. Right? How do we get that child to understand that if you want to do this, perhaps there's a route that you could go, that you're going to end up in trouble. So here what? We're going to talk to the principal first now.
And ask.
We're going to talk to the principal first. Okay? So that way, I don't have to get called in the school and say, Mr. Parsanlal, your son in trouble for doing what you know to be, you know, what we trying to encourage, which is more entrepreneurship.
I know you're talking something serious, right? Or what are we school friends here? Now comment and say Davison watches. I'll just send you that link. Right? Davison watches. He have a watch line.
Yeah. Trini.
Trini, went to school with us. He said, don't forget, my first business in school was selling bus tickets. Mr. Neil Parsanlal, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, one of the beautiful things that it used to do was give us free bus tickets in school.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a bus ticket, it was a bus pass.
Right, well, then we did took out the bus pass, because I still have my bus pass. And they give us tickets, so you get, once you are qualified for it, you get
means test
20 tickets a week.
Yeah.
To go and come, or 10 tickets a week.
10.
Right?
2 a day, yeah.
My friend, in his wisdom at the time, decided to ask for more and get more.
That's what we're talking about.
And then proceeds to go home in Maloney with all those people
And sell tickets.
and sell the bus
And you
tickets.
realize he wasn't selling it in school.
Right. When we realized this man making money, you know what we started doing too? All right, Mr. Dwayne Davison.
How do we encourage? And let me see the kind of, I like watches, eh?
Yes, of course. Yes, we do. Sure.
I like watches. How do we encourage that? How do we encourage
This
that?
is what I ask
how do
it.
we support that and support that venture, right? But allow our children to understand that there are rules. There are rules of the game. Yeah, you have rules. Everything has rules, and
correct.
therefore and you had to know the rules before you could break the rules. You have to know the rules before you could break the rules, and we're not teaching our children that these are the rules. You know, and if we, you know, if the school says you can't be selling in the school, well, the first thing I would do, or one of the first things I would do, is find the teacher who giving lessons.
Come on and
And I go and sit down in that lessons class.
and sell some rubber bands.
No, I sit down in the lessons class. because the teacher giving lessons.
Right.
And then I want the principal to tell me why I can't do business.
Oh,
in the school.
God. Fire. I know, get where you getting out of
You have to know the rules to
break the
To
rules.
break the rules.
break
Yeah.
the rules. Because if the principal allowing sir or miss
To give lessons
to
that
give
is
lessons
against the
in the
rules.
school, then I can't sell rubber band in school.
When I was going to school, they used to come after school and sell. So like during the day they would bring the stuff, but they would like sell it on the low.
Yeah.
But then after school, because Fatima was it had so much lessons, I think everybody used to come now, like from other schools like Holy Name and Providence.
Right.
QRC fellas used to come and many just to walk around and sell brownies and things, no man.
And sell your stuff.
Yeah.
My children sell mango chow in school.
Right now, might want to sell popcorn.
Yeah.
So this was asking it because one of the earlier questions asked is about teaching economics in school. One of the things that we see and we've discussed at length over the years is that our children are not taught to get into business. And as Christopher brought up that day, that thing blew my mind. Like, why has you go to school?
Andre, why are we leaving that up to the teacher in school?
Because somehow we don't have the tools to do it.
So home? Why we don't equip ourselves with it? Why I had to depend on a teacher?
Let me be a little realistic, right?
No, I want to be
We
very
have some
realistic.
children. We have some children today who are 10 years old but are much more intelligent than their parents. And what they would need, the parents just not equipped for that mentally. We're not saying, I want to learn. No. I want to learn to be able to pass on to my child.
Right.
But we're saying that it has some, we know this. I went to school with some children who their parents were their biggest kickback. Not that not intentionally, you know. Parents just didn't have the mental and emotional tools to.
If we don't have it, do we just sit down with that?
Some people will. That's just the reality.
And the point I'm making, Andre, is that I can't let my ignorance, and again, I suspect it's because how I was raised.
That is it.
And that is, I'm not going to allow my ignorance because I didn't know to hamper my child. Because I want to expose them to every single thing.
Big brother. Big brother. Respectfully, that is on your parents. Because they taught you
And
that
therefore, I
they
have to
pass
do
it
it now.
right. But because of your parents, you have the mentality where you want to. We face so much ignorance, right? Willingly and unwillingly. Because I realize there are two types of ignorance, right? But we face so much ignorance from people. You're trying to do something, and they just don't see that as possible. See it as no, their very children will benefit because the child intelligent want to do
one of the things I've realized in doing corporate training and all kinds of different things, we have to explain to people what's in it for them. Answer that question first. What's in it for me? Once you answer that question, my experience is no matter what the literacy level, once you could share that vision with them of what's in it for me, people are going to buy into your vision.
All right, you see, so that's why I want some kind of solution. I never studied like that.
What's in it?
Well, off the
And
top, it makes sense.
Just answer that question for them. What's in it for me? Because by nature, we could be very selfish people. You want to know what I getting out of it. That's the first question you was asked. What I getting out of it?
Yeah.
Right. Once you could answer that question, but then they've taken the bait. They've taken the bait, and now you could start to reel them in. But we have to be able to show parents. It's not just a matter of think about the insurance, for instance. Everybody talk insurance is that scheme and insurance is this and insurance is that and that kind of thing. But we have a choice. We could either accept what people tell us unquestioningly, or we can go and do our own research.
But again, big brother, in the communities and spaces I grew up, right? That last one was not option, you know.
No, it is.
Let me tell you who was the teachers. The men of them who could have played basketball real good. Because them come on the court and them talk certain things, and their skill level at basketball automatically make
qualify them to be masters.
Qualified to talk about. Right? Let me give you an example. So I grew up on the court. I literally grew up next to the court, right? This is my back door. This is the court. This wall here. I was one of the more popular courts in Sawa at the time. So I in Form 4. I do integrated science and success. Miss Bash asks, does anyone know where sperm come from?
Come back with that again, though.
I jump up, pop my hand real eager. Yeah, Mercedes, come from your back that way. Let's go by the punch man and buy punch.
That's what I tell you.
But that is what the big men who I looked up to as knowing and wouldn't tell me nothing wrong, That is what they were saying.
But how much of that is incorrect?
Another episode.
No, but
The phrasing is the incorrect part. The phrasing.
the phrase.
Yeah.
But how much of what they
Right.
told you
Yeah. It's wrong.
is wrong?
Right. But just now, as an expert of education, as an expert of the teaching process that we didn't have. You have an idea for something. Wait, don't know. I feel exams for that.
So there's education and there's information. They have a lot of educated jackasses out there.
We sure about that.
Wow.
We sure about that.
It's not everybody who have a degree behind the name.
Oh Lord.
Right? You have education, you have information, you have intelligence.
And then you have the ability to put it out.
And it's not everybody who have a degree or letters behind the name intelligent. You might be educated. It's not everybody who went to the university come out intelligent. It's not. Yeah. So
Some of them went to play all fours.
So if you told, and plenty we play all fours in the quadrangle. Right? But if Miss Bash, if when you tell Miss Bash that Miss, I know sperm does come from your back and that's why I had to drink plenty punch. you doing in integrated science. Integrated science is biology, is chemistry, is physics.
Yeah.
Miss Bash has the opportunity to explain what is the nutrient value of them punch all they say all they're drinking. What's the nutrient value of that? You understand? Miss Bash has the opportunity to talk about the skeletal structure. Miss Bash has the opportunity to tell you, everything about, and how eventually this sperm does come out.
Well, it didn't go that way.
It couldn't.
We will leave it at that.
It
It didn't go that way at all.
Right? Because, but you see and this is what I say, we have to find a different way to do it.
Right.
And that's what teaching is all about. Right? Because in a situation like that, because I've done the teaching and I've listened to some children give me some kind of answers in class. And the only thing you want to do is scream. Or sometimes you're reading the exam scripts, you're marking scripts, and you'll say, but I teach for this whole term, boy. I teach for this whole term, and this is why I see
I hear that pain in your voice.
I'm telling you, that's the most painful part of it. I said, but I teach that man sit down in my class for the whole term, and this is why I get back. You understand? But it gives you the opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to recalibrate how you're teaching.
Yeah.
Right? Because Miss Bash was now in a space where she could teach a whole lesson on the nutrient value of them punch.
Yeah.
And I want to
class.
tell all of we young black men, stop drinking them damn punch.
Yeah.
It's not helping you.
That milk ain't good.
Eat, sleep, and drink well.
Yep.
See that sleep
Drink
real
water.
underrated. Sleeping.
It not helping you.
Yeah.
It's not helping you. And if you feel well, because you drink a punch, you can go and fight like a lion. Them girls gonna make you feel bad.
You will get slaughtered.
Them girls gonna make you feel
Shit.
bad.
Straight. Again.
But I'm not saying anything else.
But again, and how many of us like in my age group, because where I grew up, the basketball court and the congregation that it had there was the biggest part of we socializing. Because from that, all other socializing took place now. So Karen trainer party, the invitation came from coming on the court.
From coming on the court.
Right.
Some of the best counseling I have done was done on a basketball court.
Wow.
On basketball courts. I learned to play basketball by force. Because the young people I was trying to reach, they were not coming into the office. They're not coming to the office.
He's always said that.
Always say, you gotta go to
I
them.
would meet them on the I'm no big basketball player, but I would go and we would sweat, and between the sweat we sit down on the side because your side lost. Because once I on your side got lost. Right? And sometimes I wouldn't say it was deliberate, but I needed the opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. So between the sweat, we sit down and we talk. We learned in terms of on the basketball court, over the pool table. That is where that is where people opened up. That is where men opened up to us, and that is where you reached out to people.
Yeah.
But if I training psychologists now or training people involved in counseling, I say, well, you gotta learn to play basketball. What kind of madness is that you talking? Because I'll ask if you could play basketball.
Yeah.
I'll ask if you could play pool. I'll ask if if you're
What you could do is your sport, yeah.
What you could do, and if you go into a bar, if you could drink water while other people drinking punching, and survive. Because if you can't do that, then if your target is young people and young black males, then you're not going to get through.
When you say that, and as you say, I keep saying, you can't have a lecture that is in its intended audience is young black people in certain depressed communities. You can't have that lecture in UE. I say to you,
I disagree. We took people on campus because even for them, going to the university
that's a field trip.
was a big thing. And having, so one of the programs that the government has recently initiated is a youth agricultural project. And part of it is a whole year of university.
That's the homestead program.
The homestead program. Then there's the shade project, the shade agriculture project that was just launched. And part of that, it has a strong technical component to it. If you want to do it well, you have to do it. Yeah. But you have the technical component, and then you have the actual practical work. And for some people, that piece of paper still makes sense. That piece of paper still is of tremendous value to them. And I don't when we deprecate that, and we downplay that, boy, me bong for that piece of paper and think, trust me, brother, that piece of paper does work.
right, so let me get back to the point I was making, right? Go into the communities you're trying to reach to get 40, 50 people, let us call it a number of the top, and take them to UE. That's something totally different. But I'm saying to you, you're not trying to do that. Because I know I was mad as hell in success when the first batch of children get to go, some, I think it's same psychology children, students, asked for students from success to come to fill out some questions and things, but you had to go UE. And I was supposed to be in the second batch. In the second batch, them coming success. I'm mad. Why was I mad? Because I wanted to go now. But that's not why I'm speaking about. I'm talking about people having things that would benefit them, but they tell them the lecture is there. And I'm saying to you, that same basketball court idea, we go to the court.
But Andre, be practical. Be practical. I cannot teach people about agriculture and the technical components of agricultural planting and the root, how to root crops and that sort of thing. I cannot take all of that and put it on a basketball court.
No. This is not to do that. I was just talking about the idea, right? Reaching people with it.
Reaching people with
so
that's one thing.
I was talking about it from where you were saying how you went and you sweat and I
part
think
of the problem we have, and this is what I think we underestimate our young people. And our young black people, we underestimate them.
no, but you're tying up what I'm saying here because I understand I can't expect you to come on the court up there in Sawa. We're coming with a trailer with everything that's not possible to do an agricultural project now. I'm talking about lectures. Whenever we talk about this, most of the time we talk about lectures where you're having a lecture. The target is
you're gonna try to put a lecture on the basketball court.
But I've seen it done. I've seen it done.
All right, buddy.
It's a waste of sneaking thing.
So that is not a lecture.
Wait a minute, how is not a lecture?
Me going to meet with some young people
No.
and be reasoning.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why I see it sneaking. I see it sneaking because we had a little small tournament. And then when it's done, like, without going, and we sit down and listen to a man for an hour. After.
And this after how long? After how long the tournament lasts?
Tournament was about 3 hours.
About 3 hours, and then you talk. The point I'm making, we're not reasoning enough with our young people.
I agree.
There's a difference between a lecture and reasoning. Where we could sit down and reason out something. You understand? Where we could come with all the language or whatever it is and say, yo, fellas, let me reason this thing out. See that what they're doing there? That ain't making no sense.
Right.
Or help me to understand why we're going down that road. As opposed to a lecture. Right? We have within the black community, we have almost put down the value of education. So I do bong to go to school. Right? Or and you have parents. No. So now tell me how in heaven's name I could have lie down in my bed in Mr. Parsanlal house and say I'm not going to school.
And you're not sick.
And I'm not sick. Even when I'm sick. Tell me how that was happening. Tell me how that was. How am I convincing Mr. Parsanlal that me if you go to school today, you know?
Nah, we didn't grow up with. We didn't come again, and that's part of the change too. We didn't come from that.
But let me
I couldn't tell my son that.
Example.
You crazy?
I come home my evening. I tell my mother, say, I get body class.
Nah, why you gonna want to do that for?
This mean form 4. No, naive as hell. Because I really wasn't feeling well. So when I came home, I wasn't feeling well, you know, and you know, the teacher threw me out of the class, you know, I had to go and stand up outside and that kind of thing. Get up next morning, still not feeling well. What happened? But you had to go to school. When you reach a school, leave your bag in school and go by the hospital. That very evening, I had to have surgery to remove my appendix. They had to call she and say, come for your son. Because we're going to take out the appendix now. How I telling my person that? I ain't going to school today because I ain't feeling well. And you have parents who are accepting that from their children. We have to make that difference.
Yeah.
And of course, when my person reached the hospital and see she son lying down on a hospital on the trolley, you know what's the first question she asked me? Take a guess.
Way back. What?
You want to good drawers?
Yeah, that was real. That's something you get from your mother for sure.
For sure.
Again, it
For
was
sure.
a value system.
Yeah.
You
It was
just
a
never
value
know.
system.
Yes.
Because they tell you never know if you fall along in the road.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is it. You never.
Make sure you have one of proper
Yeah.
jobs.
Proper drawers. You understand? But it was the value system.
Yeah.
And plus, you ain't representing yourself alone now because mommy had to come there.
course.
Yeah.
And so that is what I'm saying, that poverty, and poverty meaning, you know, the absence or the lack of sufficient financial resources is no reason for us. Is no reason for us to adopt the attitude that this is going to be the be-all and end-all of my life. There are too many opportunities out there. I've had people tell me going to do no program, that stipend they give me, that can't do me nothing. So we paying you to go and do a program that will upskill you, that will cause you to charge a man $500 an hour after that.
Where that mentality coming from? That is one of the things that's real question now, because
That's us.
we went to school. We went to school to learn something, right?
But you went to school with passage money.
You
That's
going
all.
to do a course that they are paying you to learn. So you're getting paid while you're doing the course. That will put you in a position to do something better after the course.
The call serious
But-
change after
We
that.
don't have the big picture mentality.
But all right, so
And that's the point I'm making. So if we are the ones as the parents,
is that where I asked you
we
where
are
that come from?
supposed to give them that big picture. Right? We are the ones supposed to give them that big picture, because if we don't do that, then we can't blame anybody else for that. I must be able to tell my son, yo, you see that course you're doing there? You're gonna make, because as I share the example of my son. My son is going to be, God willing, a young black male qualified in aerospace and aeronautical engineering who could talk Chinese. The world is open to him now.
Yeah. He kicked down the door.
The world is open to him now, and that's because we were able to share what a big picture looks like that I am reasoning for myself.
We have a comment here that I personally want to respond to. Sheldon, the youths of today are not convinced that education is the key because they have seen the failures of their educated parents who retired with nothing but a long service award. Brother, that's on their parents, you know. That is on the parents, you know. That have nothing to do with the children. That failure is on them. Because if you educated and all you retire with is a long service award, then, brother, you ain't really educated, you know.
Read the next comment now.
They have seen the uneducated children of the business owner inherit their father's business and become their boss because it was his father's business, not because of his education. I disagree with that again, because we just talk about what the definition of education is. That youth man who inherit that youth man, I cut a Syrian here and this I go way on. Because I sit down with a Syrian in my chair. Right? I ain't gonna call his name. But let me just say, you park by him. Read between them lines, right? He tell me when he graduated from St. Anthony's College, Form 5, he come out with nothing, right? Tell his father he want to go and be a pilot. He had the 5 subjects. Father said, nah, you want to be a bus driver? A glorified bus driver? Nah, forget that. Come again. I want to be a chef. He said, nah, you like your belly too much. You're too greedy. Forget that. Hear what? Forget that. You're starting work by me Monday. Come to work Monday morning, 8 o'clock. So the sun pour on his best. Suit and tie. Take. He kick and stabs. Come on. Father say,
Where you going?
Where you going in that?
Where you going?
Go back home and put on a white t-shirt and a jeans and come back for my place. And the boots, put on that and come back. And he start him sweeping the yard. Hosing down the yard in the ice factory. Well, right, again next day, right? Yeah. Hose down the yard. From there, he used to go and pack ice. From packing ice, he used to go on the truck and deliver. From delivery, drive the forklift. From the forklift, warehouse manager. That is education. And this is where we getting tied up. Because my children, I don't tell all of them already, he's the first one. Just finished graduate UWI. I even know what he graduate with. But you know he passed chemistry and management. I know that.
Right.
But I don't tell he don't have to trim. He don't have to braid. He don't have to lock it. It have a business for him to run. However, you decide to turn that business up, it's up to you.
Precisely.
Right? So I can't sit here and say that the Syrian was uneducated because he didn't come out with CXC passes. I can't also say that he's uneducated because he didn't go to UE. Right? But the father make it his business to educate him in his business.
It is his business. And you see, it is that intergenerational wealth that sustains the community.
That's right.
But when you come to me, when I was the member of parliament, I had young people coming to me, young black men coming to me. They sit down on the block. They sit down on the block. Come by the MP office. Sanil, can't do them. I grew up in the community with them.
Right.
Sanil, help you get a little work and thing now. Say no problem. Make a few calls. Say, all right, go down by so and so, introduce yourself, tell them I send you. And 2 weeks after, I can see them same men on the block. I say, why? But I thought I said you down. Mr. Neil, me able with them and all that kind of hard work for that small money. And the way they just talk to you. And I say, but wait. Your name is not Sabga. It's not Abood. It's not Maharaj. Your father had nothing. They'll leave you with nothing.
Yeah.
And you expect to just walk into the people place and get the manager's salary?
Yep. Yes.
You can't do that. I've interviewed people. You know, I sit down in my office after I take years and years and years to get where I reach.
Yeah.
And I have people come in, and you're young people fresh out of UE. And when you ask them, you know, in all interviews, you know, what are your salary expectations, sir? And then them start a call thing for you and they say, but wait, I what they want. You're not really, you have no experience, nothing. But we're not willing to make the steps.
Yeah.
We're not willing to make the steps. That Syrian father put his son through the mill. Hose down the yard, pack ice, deliver the ice. What we want is, because we parents have the business.
Yeah, we must just take the bends.
We must go and manage the work first.
Yeah.
You know, we know nothing.
No.
But we must go. The first job we get is to manage the business. No, we can't do that. And if we as parents doing that, then we are setting up our businesses to fail.
I come back to the values part I was talking about too, because now if he get promoted to manager now, he gonna understand the value of all the other workers from the bottom come up.
Correct.
Precisely.
And he's the only child that has everything.
He know the business. He know the business like the back of your hand.
So today or tomorrow, daddy dead. No going on with he. So Sheldon responded and said, we were on the topic of going to school. We understand the difference between a father educating his son to run the business and his son having an high school diploma. It's two different topics. Sabga left school at 13 years old to run his father's business.
The point is, the father had a business.
Yeah.
So why he make it clear?
What do we have?
We need to teach ownership over employment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to get to the point of ownership, there's a process.
Yeah. But then
some
you see,
of
he
us
said
are not willing to go through that process.
exactly. So
We're
saying
not willing to make those sacrifices in order to get there.
yeah. So I don't think it's as simple as saying the children don't believe in education because they see their parents fail. I see my mother, same thing, work maritime for 25 years and when she retired, does pension, the pension is nothing. And not even mal plaque. You understand? But I remember that my mother used to sell wings and fries. I remember she used to have the maxi and all those things. But remember, they came from a generation where that is an anomaly.
Yeah.
So me now seeing that and questioning myself and say, but where I get this business born from? Because my father here like that, right? Then I start to remember, oh yes. But then I remember my father make she close down the business because he afraid she get robbed. So risk, we ain't into that neither.
We're not into that. We're very risk averse.
Correct.
When I tell people, for instance, as a youth, when I finished Form 5 in CIC, we had a group of us who used to lime together, right in the community, all over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting the opportunity to go to Barbados during the, between, for the holidays. And 4 of us, 3 of us was going CIC, and 1 was going Tranquil. We went and we walked Dude,
Right.
the precursor to URP.
Yeah.
Went and worked Dude for a fortnight to be able to get our money to go Barbados. You understand? And when we went there, well, when they realized, St. Mary's, Tranquil, when they come to walk Dude, walk we like swords.
Slave, yeah.
You understand? But we knew why we went.
Yeah.
We knew why we went, and we were prepared to make the sacrifice because we had a goal in mind. And I think we need to help our children, and we need to help people to understand, to set the goals. Set the goals, and then provide them with the opportunities as best as we can to be able to achieve the goals. But if we don't help them to do that, if we don't allow them to see beyond where they are, then we circumscribing how far they can go and how much they can grow. Yeah, we really need to give them those opportunities. Sometimes we do well. Sometimes we might fail, or we might not get the kind of success that we that we hope for. We feel that the effort not worth the reward.
Yes.
Yeah, but hear what? We know is the right thing to do. And that way you can sleep comfortable when the night comes. That I have done my best, run the race, and I good with that.
All right. Well, our goodly guest has to depart. So let's take a short break and run some tunes, DJ. And I'm going to just thank Mr. Parsanlal once again for taking time out of his extremely busy day to come and sit with us. We really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Any tune in particular? And just run anything?
Just run something now, man. Listen long. Go down to the bottom. I think I put some new songs at the bottom there. Run the Crook Crow. It's Crook Crow? Bali? Yeah, run that.
This one?
Yeah.
Took off the mic on them.
Yes.
Shaka talk to me in a happy family. Tell me when you're hitting one, better you hit all and done. Now when I look at South Africa and protest. Free Mandela on the chest. Now my people, let's all join the struggle. Show your solidarity. From the US to Caribbean people, Africans must know apartheid must go, or we never will be free. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they lash we brother. Tell them that they hitting all away. Shaka, shaka, when they make we children suffer. Tell them they'll answer to all away. For we are family, one blood, one soul, to see our people free. One task, one goal. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they touch Mandela. Tell them, they better hit all away. Ulaba uchaba manje. Ulaba uchaba manje. Ulaba uchaba manje. Shaka, let your spirit flow through the veins of Soweto. Let your unifying hand cradle every Bantu man. Delta Chan Bota, stop the fooling. Tell them judgment day is near. Tell them they can't stop the tables turning. Let them know it's real. They will have to feel if they do not want to hear. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they lash we brother. Tell them that they hitting all away. Shaka, shaka, when they make we children suffer. Tell them they'll answer to all away. For we are family, one blood, one soul, to see our people free. One task, one goal. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they touch Mandela. Tell them, they better hit all away.
It's based on profit. We can't run we own so.
Yes, I.
Yeah. Well, we black.
Yeah, we black.
We black. And I just want to say this earlier. We don't have to agree on everything. And it's something I realized from my youth when I look back. And I realized it's something I did in the early years of what we would call being around black conscious information. Affects with people who have a difference in opinion. We cannot all agree. We wouldn't all see eye to eye. Right? The marker growth and the marker where we go move forward is how we interact with each other when we do see eye to eye. Because it's all well nice and good when we agree to everything, you know. That wall green, yeah, boy. and I think now, when a man say no, boy, that blue, boy. So you tell me, I chop it up, I don't. You know?
No, but what I'm telling you is you need to check your eyes. You're probably colorblind.
Yeah, right? Right.
So, regards to what Sheldon say here, right? Regarding little children in Japan are creating apps and becoming millionaires while we still learning A for Apple, and because there's a so-called process. Yes, my brother, but at the end of the day, I think the focus here is on the word process, because them children and them learning them things in a school. So it's a Japanese school.
Nah, but we can't just write it down as that.
Why?
Because even though it's what we call SCHOOL, the process and system is totally different.
No, I agree. And that's why I say, wait on there, something. The camera. Yeah, that camera focusing on Andre's chest. This one.
This one?
Yeah. It zoom out. Oh no, that is when he was standing up talking.
Yeah.
YouTube beacon. Yeah. Yeah. The at the end of the day, system is system. And he correct. Right? But you can't say that we using a system that's outdated. That's a fact. We using a process that is outdated.
And that is it? That is the idea?
It's a fact. But you can't
compare
it.
Why?
Because you're telling me the same thing is a process they're using over there that have the children coming out how it is.
But the difference in it and why you had to highlight it is because they made that process for them based on them.
Right, so that's a different conversation. Right, so that's a different conversation. Because now he's saying, well, look, he say it after Africans had our own process and it was called Ubuntu. Right. So now you can't say we still learning A for Apple, B for Bat. Yes, but that's because we need back. We still back in the day. No, it have plenty schools now in Trinidad doing holistic learning, right? Nicholas' son is go to one.
Okay.
Right? Even though he's autistic and whatever, he's go to a holistic where they have numbers painted on stone and thing on the floor. So when they're picking up, they're learning, they're seeing, they're touching, they're feeling. But they're still also learning the number because it's visible to them. Right? It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the alphabet chart and them kind of things. They're doing it differently. So you're seeing the advent of the change that is necessary for us, because just this morning, Omari sent my video, and I think I'll show you it, where the side-by-side TikTok, where Japan and them China using TikTok to motivate their children and show them positivity alone. And the US is pelting hot dog sausage and trying to catch hot dog sausage in their mouth and all kind of cacao thing. Right? And that is just the reality now. You know? So he correct, you know. I ain't saying he not right, but I just saying that sometimes in our discussions we just focus on terminologies and words and it's create confusion versus we looking at the principle or the concept and understanding why this concept working, which is what you was now saying there about the jail system. We don't have a rehabilitation system in Trinidad. Our rehabilitation system does not exist. Not for for drugs, yeah, but for criminals and them kind of thing do exist. Because as you say, you can't put a man who smoking weed, who get hold for a gram of weed, in a jail cell with a murderer, a mass murderer who might have shoot up 15, 20 people and he need rehabilitation. And then he going and corrupt the next one because now you in there and they're going and permeate the two of them, you know what I mean? So, no, you're correct. And that Ubuntu system partner is something I really want we to get back to, because I do understand this girl has followed on IG, the African girl. She kind of hard to listen to sometimes, eh?
I know.
Yeah. You are because we are.
You know, Kyle, they say something there, right? And a few years ago I disagree with you, but I see the importance right now for many different reasons. International travel and seeing what is out there helps to expand some of those opportunities as well. And that's so true.
Yeah.
Again, is live and is learn. Because I remember having a discussion with our partner that turned into a debate. I still don't agree with part of what you say, but I had to admit that traveling could really open up.
No, it's open your mind.
Right? It open up your mind, it open up where you see it, open up the possibilities you might think. Because you know, at a time I was really despondent in doing the Nubian experience thing. But I come back to Trinidad high on the Nubian experience after going to New York, doing a show in Manhattan, getting the type of response that I got from people who saw it in the face. You know? Boy, that response was like, I can't wait to go back. Because I realized, and I think it's the same thing somebody who might study, like O'Neill say he went outside and study. Or, you know, you're just traveling and going out. That's why one of my aims is to travel with my daughter from now. As they say, no vaccine necessary.
Person.
I looking to push her on our plane because she don't like it, eh?
Yeah.
She little school me like she daddy, you know.
That ain't done so already?
Eh?
You still need that to travel?
To go.
Certain places.
Yeah, certain places.
Seriously?
It didn't make it. It not in the news like how it was before, but it didn't come off completely in certain places.
You more got uses this way.
Yeah, you understand? So I understand and I accept that now. And that is one of the things I want to do for her. That was not able to be done for me now.
Right.
You know?
All right. So we burning some fire today? Because I know you had some things you wanted to get off your chest.
Yeah, remind me again. When we was coming on.
We was coming along there.
Remind me
with
again.
the schools now.
The condition of the schools. Yeah, boy.
You see the orange button on the top right? Just press that for me there.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
All year. Now again, I want to make it clear that this is my opinion. And I leave room, as my chief does say, it is my universal right to be wrong. So I leave room to be wrong, right? But based on what I see, or they can't tell me, governments, including the present one, how we best interest in mind. They have to do certain things to look that way.
Yeah. Optics.
Yeah, it have to look that way for them to do what them just do that's benefit them and the finances and things. But my primary school, San Juan Boys Government Primary School, take 10 years or more to build. How a primary school taking 10 years to build? A school to rebuild. Right? You're paying somebody to house the students in, by Austinville Road there.
Yeah.
A building right there. So look at the inconvenience. So let's say you live in Sour Hill and you're going Sour Boys Government School. You probably could walk down the road depending on the
Which is why you went to the school in the first place.
right? Now you're going
Because I commute brutal.
right. And it take however long. All the fanfare, you wasn't seeing no fanfare, you wasn't hearing no Minister of Education from whatever time and whatever party saying on national media. Why this taking so long on? No fanfare, but when it's time to open. Real fanfare, right? So we coming down to the Avenue today in Barrett area. And I am watching what we know as Barrett Junior Sec. And I saying,
Money spent. Blocks went up. Rotaya and put in.
yeah, all them thing, right? But it have children in the school, is it? Or
Yeah,
apart of the school?
that's training in the
Who
school.
you want them training them to act and feel when they what they're looking at?
Looking like a prison.
It
Every time I
looking
pass,
a
I be
prison,
like, boy, oh.
and it is unfinished.
Yeah. Even the outside wall and in paint.
You're done teaching them that already.
Yeah.
That's where you're teaching them, without telling them anything. You gotta finish. Just start it now. So put on a foundation and put up one room on it and that is it. That's where you're showing the training them there about how they feeling. Right? Then we pass this
Compre.
No, well right next door. But even when we was coming up on the highway and we pass
Sags.
right? I said, look at that now, boy. Since I know that school is that color,
Green
it don't
and
look
white.
dirty.
Green and cream.
I used to live close to it.
Yeah.
It don't look dirty, and the lawn is always so nice and green. What kind of mentality you think the children having coming into that atmosphere, and how receptive they would be coming into the atmosphere, as opposed to coming into the atmosphere?
Yeah.
And then you come and talk to me in this kind of way, like if the children going there different from the children going there. The only difference is where you're putting them
That's
in.
where you're putting them, yeah.
Because I sure if you take some of them children there and put them in that nice school there with the nice green grounds and thing, I sure the academic performance will increase.
Yeah. And you know, as former Success Lab until composite school students, we know what success was.
Yeah, boy.
And it is a stark difference when you look at the school now, the greeny, the little in between form one block and the library.
4 block, yeah.
They used to have grass there. We used to play triol pitch and
Nice.
thing there. That is concrete now.
Right?
Cast concrete.
Here I remember
Not even
that.
trees. I one tree there.
I remember that spacing for every day after lunch. When Bambi wasn't in my class, he was on the next side. Who could remember that? Miguel. If he owned. The classes was louvers all the way up, right? The louvers was almost down to the ground. So when we sit down in our class in 4C and open them louvers, the shade, because the sun directly over here is right after lunch.
Yeah.
And the trees, the shade that them trees forming, little rays of sunlight coming through, plenty breeze because success on a little incline. And that green space there, you relax. The best time I part of school was after lunch. Because it had a relaxing kind of thing.
Feel, yeah.
And I know I would not be the only person to feel that, especially we might not be able to vocalize it at that time. But we look back now and realize, yeah.
Yeah, you used to gaze out of the class.
No, I going in the school in 2018. I going in there and tears run out my eye when I went up on the Form 1 to Form 3 block, boy. One set of iron, so you put iron over iron. So even if you put one set of bugler proofing and there is space and you put next set now, so how the children, and then you cut out half of the
louvers.
The louvers
you
and
raise the
concrete.
wall, yeah. They raise the wall
And
and then and on the next side they raise the wall up to the top so the breeze only coming in through the top.
But here what you tell them now is the children and how those going on, but if we as adults and we went through this and we thinking that's the only solution we could have come up with, man.
Blocking them up. The places look and feel like a prison.
Yo, and when I talking about when we was going success, the toilets and all was immaculate.
Yeah. Yeah, we could
Now
have
the
made
students
in
have
the
a-
bathroom and thing.
The students have a part to play, no? But it must have a way for us to get them involved.
But who stopped them from being involved? We was involved. I tell you already, Miss Applewhite used to make me come on every vacation partner. Where is call it? Java.
Yeah.
Every Java. We in the first week in August. Nah, lie. It was probably like closer to when school opened. Like about the third week in August. But we had a coming class, sweep, mop, wipe down all the tables, pull off chewing gum and thing. And then paint,
see?
you know.
Rest in peace, Miss Applewhite.
Paint. We had to
We know
paint the
better than
class.
resting in peace, but you know what I mean.
But you know why that was important to me, partner? You come to school first day with a marker now, and play you going and write up on
Problems.
my
You
wall.
mad?
You're crazy.
And as you remember, as
You're
always
crazy.
called Mr. Lester Botise.
Yeah.
He was with maths teacher.
Same.
And so, you know, the little block it had over the class to identify what class it is now. Well, we write up, we name them me, Conan, Roger, write up, we name and thing there. And he come in class at the handball, Karen, why is your name over there? But we write up we nicknames. So he brings Conan. Conan says, so my mother named me that too. And I said, that know my name. If you hear Conan, I still had a deep voice today, right?
Yeah.
So when Conan said that, all we say the same thing. Yeah, intelligence. And there's what I was saying. We had to come up with better ideas. The very next day, he came to class late on purpose. So you know when the teacher a little late, everybody outside and is entertained. But of course, you hear the teacher coming, so everybody run inside and sit down and waiting, right? And he slowly come to the class. And when he walk in the class, he ball cocky. And Roger answer. As he answer, I wonder if he remember like, oh shit. You know, Mr. Bautista make we don't know. Come and pay in the class.
Look, a man saying that to Tyreek Ross. Tyreek actually years after me.
Right.
And he said he know about painting class too. So where it stop? I tell you where it stop. You want to tell you?
Speak it now, man.
With that disgrace, boy, Miss Bash, that woman had no right and
To
no
be the
place to
principal.
be the principal of Success Lab until you're not from there. You know
no
nothing about
connection
it.
with the-
No connection today, and you come to run that school. You have no care. You know business about what go on with the children and them there.
Yeah.
You understand? And
I've
that
heard numerous people say that over the years.
Yeah.
I've heard numerous people say that. And something I heard our organization say, and I agree with. The schools, especially in those areas, Mova, Lavantel, East Port of Spain, should be run by people from the area. Qualified there, so the principal had to be a principal.
yeah.
Right? And we have it. It's not either or something else along that line now. Because when you're not from there, it's hard to connect to that mentality, boy.
Yeah. Look, Jason say he feel it might be cynical but that may be by
Of
design.
course.
But it is.
But you see, Jay, we scared to admit that. You know why we scared to admit that? Because then we have to admit that have a whole system against us.
Yeah.
And plenty. It's not a nice thought, you know.
No.
To know that all this machinery I seen going on was against me, boy.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a reality, and that's why Sheldon say ownership over education. I just say ownership over inclusion. Because I think one of the worst mistakes we made as African people, as black people, was inclusion. Because when we were segregated, we was forced to do it for ourselves. So Karen opened my music company. He guarantee every Saturday when he has a show, it's full of black people. And the pain. Every black community that came up because of segregation was successful. None was a failure. You know how we community start to fail? As we integrate. Because as we integrate, we stop buy from ourselves. We stop trade with ourselves. You understand? So here we are today. I have to go back to that same thing again. People.
Talk about the fire first.
Yeah, that would be like read out that one day. I used to watch all the equipment in school and wonder why I not seeing people using it, and them equipment no longer. Them equipment no longer there because we was there in May.
Yeah,
we was there in May, and all that gymnastic equipment that we want to know. Whoa, Olympics and thing. None of them thing there again. The horse, the pommel,
the rings.
None of them thing there.
Yeah, to me, Success was the only school at that point in time that actually had rings. Rings. Where's like gymnastics? Yeah. We had rings. We had a pommel horse. We had the
spring everything. The balance beam.
Yeah.
We had all them thing in Success.
And then they want to talk about change. Them don't really want to change, boy.
They want to change. So
anyhow,
on that note,
we doing we thing.
We the change, Ole.
Yeah. Be the change I want to see.
I want to tell people, a lot of us get convinced that if it's not on a big scale, it no change. I and all probably was guilty of that.
Nah, we trip.
Conversation with your children, constant conversation with your children, raising a child as you have done and not coming out here to distress people and thing is part of that change.
True.
Let we do it. We have to live in love all year. We live in love. We spinning top in mud.
That's right.
Yeah.
So all year we out.
We are black. We will be black.
We will be black next week Tuesday.
Peace and love, people.
Peace and love, yeah. Run some tune there before you end the stream now, man. Where's the second to last tune on the thing there?
That face. Yep, so.
Yeah. Actually, go up and see if you find the next one, huh? What's the name of the one, boy, that we try to play the day that never play?
The Matix?
No.
Was our face?
Yeah, was the face on them, yeah.
From Ireland.
From Ireland, yeah.
Hey, the mic on mute?
Nah, it ain't mute yet. You see it?
Yeah.
Run it.
Corruption index, we a small island, I'm mad and I've been vexed. I coming like a super soldier when they inject. Ceremony veins, super sale, many thing flex. I'm gonna grab the mic straight till death. Better like a man in debt, but he still fed. Government gear with trust and they milk it. White collar crime and he can't make a jail yet. I'm gonna make a jail with this one. I get no bail cause I snipe from a distance. My aim don't fail, 10 shots, never miss once. And I go on in an instance. Rap so flow, no biggie or key, no indicator. Swerving Lancelot lane, straight innovator. Men say that's not same when you see me later. Flood important Spain. Right, used to say no follow nobody. Used to eat green plum cause the yellow too runny. No my belly now yellow, I'm afraid nobody know who I to be. I'm not talking about holly. Dragon breeding fire, you are more unsullied. Be a Trinity. Tell me weed, how you go pop money? Future crowd, where we breed, how you go stop money? Boy, you in a dollar jam, and the DJ call mommy. Killing on the beat bar, so angelic. You don't wanna try me, I go get you headache. Chili's like salt, be so embedded. Never gonna stop like a troll going on Reddit. I'll be going up. Now we see me going up. Now we getting big, now a few friends showing up. I don't need that brief book, so I know enough. Chili's like rap so, Chili's like salt, beef, rap so, better, dollar jam like salt, beef, rap so, Chili's like salt, beef, rap so rap rap. It's like salt grease so embedded, never killing any big boss so angelic. You don't wanna try me, never get you headed. It's like salt grease, tunes like salt grease, rap so fluid. When I run a tunes like salt grease, rap so tunes like salt grease. When I run a jam, I rap so fluid. It's like salt grease so embedded, never killing any big boss so angelic. You don't wanna try me, never get you headed. You ready wanna mess with the hardest working far from suit. Now grind to my arms and hook map a tooth big shock and they passing surfing gay style put it on like box of cutting Trinidad Tobago man was smoking chin tune but they copy it far from perfect. They do miss imminent to break it down. I say soon I bringing it to tell you really make rules. So boy thing I to represent. Do the rap so thing I'm an element. Drum militant tweet and I art a fan. We skin dread peeps going out of clan. No label I give myself an advance. Certain tables they say I never stand a chance. They ain't able they love spread hand to hand. New fables to the same icy man. Icy man. Tell ya icy man when I do my thing. For steady getting fans every tune I bring. For now be on the top. All you're watching all your too bad mind. Just stop it please. Never did you think we starting up now. Two punching, shutting and packing up now. We done by half, you're happy enough now. And the girl did pass to ratchet up now. 17 on the beach, you're starving up now. His face on the beach, you're large enough now. Any flex on the street, we having up town. Too much men and storm when you have it down straight. It's like salt grease, rap so tunes like salt grease, rap so in another jam like salt grease, rap so tunes like salt grease, in another rap so rap tunes like salt grease so embedded, never killing any big boss so angelic. You don't wanna try me, never get you headed. It's like salt grease, tunes like salt grease, rap so fluid. In another tunes like salt grease, rap so tunes like salt grease, in another jam and the rap so fluid. Tunes like salt grease so embedded, never killing any big boss so angelic. You don't wanna try me, never get you headed.